Welcome to the Ty and Dan podcast. I'm Tyler Evans. Danny Forbes not here this week, so I'm joined with my good friend Maverick Northcott. Maverick, thanks for being on the show.
Thank you. I was waiting for my walk-up music to come on. I was actually typing in the song so I could get it going, but you beat me to it.
What's your walk-up song?
I was gonna play some Thunderstruck by AC/DC.
That's a good all-time walk-up song. Also joined by Mitchell Hurtubise, good friend of mine, been on the show last week. Welcome back, Mitch.
Spent the whole day watching spring training baseball. Gotta love this time of year, man.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so on this show, we're going to talk about the Hockey Hall of Fame. There was no class this year, but there is going to be a 2022 class, and there's some big names that could be going into the Hall of Fame, so let's kind of go through them one by one and decide should they or should they not be a Hall of Famer. But first of all, I want to ask you guys this. Maverick, when it comes to the Hall of Fame, what do you consider a Hall of Famer? Like, what would be the requisites for you? Like gold medal, Stanley Cup? Do they have to have individual awards?
They just got to be elite, you know? I'm not about guys getting in that aren't the best player on their team at any point in their career.
Yeah.
You know, like if you're riding coattails and getting in there, I'm not a big fan of that, but you know, it's tough to say. Like sometimes good teams make players look a lot better as well, and a few of the guys we're going to talk about played on bad teams, and that's why they're not in. And some of them played on good teams, and that's why they've got a shot. So
yeah. What about you, Mitch?
A lot of people weigh their decisions on Olympic, like achievements as well, like gold medals and guys like that. You can't really judge a Canadian player by their Olympic impact because Canada's team is so is so incredible. It's hard to beat them.
Yeah.
So most of the guys on there, I would judge by their NHL attributes and accomplishments and not their Olympics. But individually, like Maverick said, elite level talent that has shown that they have been either a top 2 player on their team or a top 5 player, let's say in the NHL, at least like between 3 to 5 years of their career. They have like achieved an elite level for a sustained amount of time.
Yeah, that's the big thing for me. Like, I like to see longevity. Like, I don't want to put in a guy that was an 11 goal scorer and then one time he popped in 30. Like, that's not a Hall of Famer to me.
Well, my question then is, like, Crosby's obviously surefire, right?
Right.
When Crosby got hit, I'm pretty sure after his second cup or his first cup and his career was in question, he probably would have been in the Hall of Fame even before he had his concussion problem.
Yeah, so like Paul Kariya is a good example of that. Like Paul Kariya had a shortened career, where he was kind of put in the Hall of Fame based on what he did with the time that he played, but he obviously would have put up bigger numbers if he had more time. Maverick, you know a lot about Paul Kariya. How many games did he play again?
987.
And he was a point-a-game guy.
And he got 987 points.
Yeah, so that's a Hall of Famer, right? Like even though he didn't have the longevity of a career.
Paul Kariya is a Hall of Famer in my mind because he was my favorite player as a kid. So I'm a little bit biased towards old Paulie boy,
yeah.
Paul Tetsuhiko Kariya. You hear that? I got his middle name and everything. Born October 15th, 1972. No, 74. 74, I think. I don't know. I was a big super fan, but yeah, I could see the argument against Kariya as well, just based on, you know, he didn't win a cup. Yeah. He won an Olympic gold medal with a stacked team and scored an epic goal thanks to Mario Lemieux.
Yeah.
But I could totally see the argument against, just based on, you know, didn't even play 1,000 career games, never won the cup.
But it's hard.
He was the best player on a terrible Anaheim team for a very long time.
Like think
so
about.
I think Rick Nash is a really good example that we've got on our list of potential candidates that was a very good player on a terrible Columbus Blue Jackets team for a really long time.
He was easily their best player for a long time.
Yeah. So let's start there. Let's start with Rick Nash. He's a 2-time Olympic gold medal winner. He won the Rocket Richard Trophy once, but he shared that Rocket. Kind of interesting. He shared that with Iginla and Kovalchuk. That was in 2004. But yeah, no Stanley Cup, no Art Ross Trophy. Rick Nash, is he a Hockey Hall of Famer?
How's this for a stat, Mitchell? In 04, when he scored 41 goals, he only had 57 points to win the Rocket Richard Trophy.
Wow.
Yeah, 16 assists. Guy was on an island. Nobody to pass the puck to.
This is also a guy who had a kind of a shortened career as well. Like, he's only 36 right now.
Oh, shit.
His 2010 Olympics, I'm pretty sure, if I can recall correctly, him, Getzlaf, and Perry were the best line in the Olympics that year.
Yeah, I remember that.
It's stuff like that, because you could judge Ovechkin on that, even though he's going to have arguably the best goal-scoring career of all time, besides the great one, right? Rick Nash didn't pass very much. That wasn't his forte.
Clearly.
But he put the puck in the net. But that's the only,
Rick Nash
way
never
you can
had
judge him.
Rick Nash never had an 80-point season.
So that's easily judged. I would consider Rick Nash not a Hall of Fame worthy player.
That's the verdict. What do you think, Maverick?
Yeah, that's a tough one. He's got 3 40-goal seasons.
Yeah.
He definitely led the team in points. Like, I'm not looking at that stat, but he definitely would have led the Blue Jackets in points several times, even with under 80. I'm gonna say
that's like the prime example of great player, terrible team, long time, right?
Yeah, and he's got 805 points in over 1,000 games. I'm gonna say if he gets in, he's gonna be on that list for a long time. Like, he's not getting voted in right away. And the type of game he played, it is tough to make it to the Hall of Fame because he played a more physical game. Like, guys like Ovi are gonna get in just based on goal scoring and plays a bit more physical. But you think like a Cam Neely, who his career was cut short because he played that grindy hockey.
Yeah.
And that was Rick Nash's game as well. It's the kind of hockey you like to see, but it's also tough to have longevity or at least prolonged success with that kind of game. So I'm gonna say he would not have my vote if I had an official vote.
Yeah. Even
though he is a Brampton Ting.
Yeah, I don't think he would have my vote either. He's not a point-a-game guy. He didn't have the longevity. Like, as Mitchell said, it's hard to put the Canadian... so, to me, like, a gold medal and a cup, like, they should almost be the same value, but it's kind of hard to say that for a Canadian player who they walk into the tournament every year and have a ridiculously stacked team. So, I mean, it's hard to put Rick Nash in that conversation. Yeah, I don't think I would be putting him in the Hall of Fame. I think the Hall of Fame is kind of... He probably will get in eventually, because the Hall of Fame over the years has kind of become watered down with these guys that should probably not be in there, but are, and like they might have been elite for a year or two, but over the course of their whole season didn't really play at the most elite level, so he probably will get in there, but I don't think he should. Alright, moving on, let's go to a Swedish-born player, Henrik Zetterberg. And I'm going to try not to be biased about this one. The cool thing about Zetterberg, drafted 210th overall in the 7th round of his draft. He was a Conn Smythe winner, the playoff MVP in 2008 when the Wings won the Cup. King Clancy Award winner. And he's a gold and silver medalist at the Olympics, and he won gold at the World Junior Hockey Championships. Maverick, I'll turn it over to you. Is Henrik Zetterberg a Hockey Hall of Famer?
Henrik Zetterberg may be a nicer guy than Mike Babcock, but Mike Babcock's got 1 ring, and so does Zetterberg. And I don't know. I feel like I hear about it a lot for a guy that won one Stanley Cup. Like, I think of those Red Wings teams, and I definitely think about I think about Shanny and Yzerman, and the early 2000s success. And I always kind of had the impression Zetterberg was a part of it. I guess I didn't totally realize until more recently. Oh God, am I still on the call?
You're still here, yeah.
I just got told we had a time limit, so it said thank you for choosing Zoom. But yeah, I was always under the impression he was a part of those teams. But he's only got one cup, so pretty tough for me to say. Like, he's got 960 points in over 1,000 games. He did win the cup, and the fact that he won the Conn Smythe might push him over the edge for me.
Yeah.
So I'd say yeah. The Conn Smythe is probably the more convincing element. At least he's got that accolade of not only a cup winner, but he was the best player on the cup team that year. So
yeah.
I'm gonna say yes, but I also have the same feeling about him as I do Babs, that one cup does not get you in the Hall of Fame alone.
Yeah. What do you think, Mitchell?
Complete opposite criteria of Rick Nash. How many good teams did he play on? Detroit
Lots.
made the playoffs, I think, was it 26 years in a row?
Yeah, they made the playoffs. I believe
it was a pro sports record.
Yeah, I believe they made the playoffs every year of his career except for maybe one.
And so in his career, I'm pretty sure the guy was a dual threat. He could score and he could pass.
Yeah.
Maverick said 960 points in over 1,000 games. I guarantee you he's a plus player. Like, his plus minus is probably through the roof. Because he was a two-way guy. He was always on the back end. He did a lot on the ice. He was a winger, right? He played left wing. Usually Datsuk was the center on his line.
Zetterberg played a lot of center, actually.
Yeah, it was Datsuk that played the wing more?
No, Datsuk was also a center. They were kind of line one, line two sort of thing. Sometimes they were packaged together. They were packaged together on the same line during the 2008 playoffs, but I remember Zetterberg taking a lot of face-offs.
Okay. Yeah, so as I see here, he surpassed 90 points once, 80 points twice, so 3 times total, over 80 points. The Conn Smythe thing, I had this conversation with Tyler the other day, Tyler Johnson, a guy who's got a Conn Smythe, right, who you wouldn't consider a Hall of Famer, but I think Zetterberg had the career I would, if I was a voting individual and I had the power to, I would vote Henrik Zetterberg into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I would too.
Because that Swedish gold medal, that was a big one.
That's a big help. So he has a cup, he has a gold medal, and he was a great leader. Like, he was the captain for an Olympic Swedish team. He was the captain of the Red Wings for a while. He was a King Clancy Award winner. So he also was just a great leader, just a great hockey player, a good two-way player. I think Henrik Zetterberg is he's not the top of the Hall of Fame class, but I think he's definitely a hockey Hall of Famer for everything he did in his career. And his career kind of got cut short too near the end. He got injured, and he could have played longer. He just turned 40 this year, actually, so he's another guy who probably would have tacked on a few good more seasons without the injury. All right, moving on to another player who could be in the Hall of Fame in 2022, an undrafted player.
Yes or no?
What's that?
Yeah, I was a yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was a yes. We could go to the next Henrik if you want to go to the next Henrik.
No, let's do Cujo first. Curtis Joseph.
You take the lead on this, Maverick, because I don't know much about Cujo.
Maverick knows a lot about Cujo.
Well, my first point about Cujo is that he's got darker eyebrows than I do. So my mom thought he was so handsome. That was the problem with my mom's taste in men. Yeah, my mom's taste in men was dark ass eyebrows. So that's how this happened.
Oh yeah.
So I'm looking at Cujo's numbers a little bit. He had 51 NHL shutouts. He's the 4th winningest goalie of all time, and he played on some pretty disappointing teams. Like, he played for the Oilers and the Blues in the 90s, played for the Leafs in the early 2000s, which was
Yeah.
probably where he saw his like most success.
Yeah, he went to the Eastern Conference Finals once.
Yeah, went to the Eastern Conference Finals. He had one of the funniest goalie freakouts in league history when he took out the referee.
Yeah.
He kind of flamed out in the end. Was he the goalie that Ovi scored on his back?
No, I don't think so.
Because he was with the Coyotes.
I don't think that was him.
I'm gonna look up that highlight while I talk.
Yeah,
about
look that up.
But if that was him in net, he loses my vote.
Yeah, and then he can't be in there.
That goalie was way out of position. Ovechkin.
He was a great leader, too, actually. He won a King Clancy. He was on the 2002 Winter Olympic team, but he was the third goalie. So he has a gold medal, but, I mean, can you count it if he was the third goalie?
So does PK Subban. He came back out onto the ice
That's
in all
right.
his equipment after they won.
That's right.
But he didn't play. I think it's so funny they made him put his equipment on. I'd be out there with like just a jersey over the shirt and tie.
Actually, you know what? Maybe Cujo was the backup. I think now I think about it, I think Marty Turco might have been the third goalie.
No, you're thinking of 06 with
06?
Turco for
Yeah.
sure. I think it was Patrick Waugh in 02, was it not?
Yeah, that might have been right. Waugh and Brodeur.
Wasn't Brodeur the starting goalie?
Yeah, and then Patrick Waugh backup.
Yeah. What number would Cujo have worn with Phoenix? Was he 33? 33 is the goalie.
No, Cujo's 31.
He usually wore 31, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't even remember him being in Phoenix, to be honest.
Ed Belfour was one of the goalies on Team Canada.
Oh, okay. So it would have been Belfour on the bench, and Cujo was the third.
I think you're right on that.
Did Waugh retire in 01 then?
He must have.
Anyways, we're getting way off track.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Cujo just based on fourth most wins of all time, and doing it with some very average teams. I'm gonna put him in there,
Mm-hmm.
and like I'm not gonna pretend to know goalies, and I don't think anybody else really should, because like this guy went undrafted,
Yeah.
so nobody really knows enough about goalies to even pick him in the draft, let alone put him in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna put him in there just based on fourth most wins.
What do you think, Mitchell?
943 career games, 454 wins. So the record doesn't show, but he's got an all-time 279 goals against average. This is just regular season statistics, and a 906 save percentage. So not too bad. Like it's above average, a bit.
Yeah.
Like, but you think the days that he played late 90s, goalies don't have the same type of pads they do now. Inflation in goals, deflation now.
Goalies
So
are hard.
nowadays, yeah. The NHL is trying to change and allow more. Like they want more scoring,
Yeah.
entertaining. They want to sell the game. But yeah, I think I agree with Maverick. Fourth most wins. That you got to stick around for a long time to do that, and like you said, playing on some pretty garbage teams. I would give Cujo my vote.
He was also a 3-time All-Star, and I don't know how much stock you guys put into this for the Hockey Hall of Fame, but he also won a Spangler Cup.
Oh, no!
That doesn't count?
No. I'm pretty sure Chris Kelly has 2.
Yeah.
That's like Ryan Whitney winning the Pee Wee
Yeah.
tournament.
This one's hard for me, actually, because I also feel a little bit biased as a Red Wing fan and a Leaf fan as well. Seeing, like, Cujo obviously played for both those teams, and I always loved them as a kid with the goalie mask and everything, and having the ties to the horror movie Cujo. So this is hard for me to put my bias aside for it, but I don't know. I mean, his numbers are just kind of above average, and I think a lot of the reason people do love Cujo is because he is almost kind of a gimmicky goalie. You know what I mean by that?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if Cujo is Hall of Fame worthy. I think I would pass my vote as a no for now, but maybe it's something I would revisit in another year. But for I don't think he's a first ballot Hall of Famer.
No,
Hey,
I'm not saying
well-
that either.
Yeah.
Well, we're on the topic. What goalie in the league today, like that's playing active right now, would you put in the Hall of Fame, if any?
Oh, without a question, Marc-Andre Fleury.
Yeah. Marc-Andre Fleury is probably a Hall of Famer.
Without a question.
Don't you think his numbers are like, pretty average though too? What are his numbers? I'm pretty confident he's like
More-
statistically
Yeah,
not
but more international success, more Stanley Cups.
but he was the backup for the Cops, right? Like
No,
what
he was
about-
the
No.
what about
starter.
Price? Is Price going in as more automatic than Fleury?
Yes, Carey Price is a first ballot Hall of Famer. I would probably say.
What about his recent? But do you think his recent numbers that are like bringing him down change that at all?
No, I don't think so either.
It's just so tough with goalies.
It is
That's
hard
my
with
thing.
goalies.
Is like you evaluate them so much on like things that like are kind of how much weight can you even put into them?
Yeah, no, it's true, and their career is a little more than the players depend on the success of the teams they play for too.
What about Lundqvist? Is Lundqvist going in?
That's a good question. That's a hard one too. He has the international success. I'm pretty sure he has a gold medal, but he doesn't have a cup, and he has a Vezina. I'm pretty sure, does he not?
Yeah, he would definitely. He has to have a Vezina.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm not even going to get into it. Lundqvist has my vote.
yeah, he's a Hall of Famer.
He's the king. For whatever reason, his nickname is the king. I think he should be in there.
Yep, me too.
Yeah, so he's got more shutouts, lower goals against. He's got a Vezina.
Then who? Then Cujo?
Then
Or-
Cujo.
Yeah. So he's in.
Yeah.
He's in. Second ballot. 100%.
All right, here's a guy who is not on the ballot for 2022. And to me, I'm a little surprised he's not in the Hall of Fame. It's Danny Heatley. He won the Calder. He's a 4-time All-Star, 2010 Olympic champion, 2-time
terrible
gold medalist
driver.
at the World Championships, 2004 World Cup of Hockey. You guys remember the World Cup of Hockey?
Yeah. Those are awesome.
50 goals in 07, 50 goals in 06. Maverick, I think you already made a comment that I didn't hear. What am I missing here?
I said, and a terrible driver.
Yeah, Danny Heatley. Do you think Danny Heatley should be kept out of the Hall of Fame because he was caught drinking and driving and in that accident, Dan Snyder's life was taken?
No, it should be based on his skill alone.
Yeah, this isn't the Hall of Fame of good people.
All right, hey Mitch, I'm gonna follow that up.
Here we go.
If Aaron Hernandez posted Rob Gronkowski's numbers and then murdered a guy, is he a Hall of Famer?
Based on his statistics, he's got the most touchdowns in playoff history.
All right, well,
I would put him. He's got to be in there.
I'm looking forward to your answer on the next one that I pose to you later about baseball.
Do that now.
Um,
Do that now, Maverick.
So no, we can throw that one in there later. Yeah, you know what? Like, Danny Heatley's got some pretty impressive numbers.
Yeah.
He's 791 points in 869 games played, so he's not quite a point per game guy. But you know what? His assists, I feel like his assists aren't like what some of the guys that get in are.
Right.
419. He's still got more assists than goals, but he's not like he's not that playmaker kind of numbers.
Yeah.
He's also a winger, so that makes a difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, if you take away those couple years of mediocrity with the Wild, like that would make a difference for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And the Ducks. Oh wow, I forgot he even played for the Ducks.
That's not
I'm
even
just
relevant.
looking at that now.
That's not even relevant.
6 games in 14-15
Between Atlanta, Ottawa, and San Jose, like, he was unbelievably good.
Yeah. I just think there's so much talent, and I'm gonna rag on a couple guys later, so I can't put them in right now. I'm gonna go with no on Danny Heatley.
You would say
I'm
no?
gonna pass. Not because he killed a guy, but because I just don't think he's in. Like, It's that, yeah.
That surprises me. He's a 2-time 50 goal scorer.
Yeah, 2-time 100-point guy.
Has the gold medal? So what's the reason behind not putting him in there?
He's just 791 in 869 and some really bad years.
Yeah.
Like, he's got years with 28 points, 18 points, 18 points, 8 points.
How many
0
games
points.
played in those?
Not full seasons.
Right.
Although he did have 28 and 82. He had 18 and 76. 18 and 31, 8 and 36, and 0 and 6.
Yeah, he fell off
I'm gonna
hard.
say his bad years is really what pushes me towards no.
All right.
Like, if he just had the successful Ottawa, Atlanta, San Jose years,
Yeah.
that puts him in.
Yeah. And that should kind of go into my thinking too, because I said right off the top of the show that I want to see guys that have done it at a high level for their whole career. Danny Heatley, his success, I guess, it wasn't short-lived, but he did have a huge drop-off. What would you say about Heatley, Mitchell?
Peak 3 to 5 years.
Yeah, unbelievable.
One of the best hockey players in the league.
Yep.
Danny Heatley has my vote.
Yeah, I think you said it perfectly, Mitchell, because at one point in his career, for the longevity of at least 3 years, he was one of the top 3 hockey players in the world.
Yeah,
Top 3, you think? Okay.
Oh yeah, he was
like
unbelievable.
Top 5, but with the puck on his stick, I don't know about his stick handling ability,
Yeah,
but his shot, he rivaled anyone with his shot.
yeah. All right, you guys aren't going to like this, but let's go back to another goalie. Let's talk about Bobby Lou, Roberto Luongo. I don't know if this is going to be much of a conversation. Maybe you guys will surprise me. William Jennings Trophy Award winner, but never won the Vezina. Won a leadership award, the Marc Messier Leadership Award. 6-time All-Star. Most saves in a single season. 3rd all-time in wins. 9th in save percentage. 2nd in games played. Has 2 gold medals at the Olympics. 1 as a backup. And I believe in 2010, wasn't there kind of a goalie controversy where Brodeur started, but he was really kind of shitting the bed, and then they threw Luongo in there. I think Luongo finished the Olympics.
Yes,
and then, so he has a World Junior gold as well. So, Mitchell, Roberto Luongo.
You also forgot to mention a Stanley Cup Finals exit in 2011.
Yeah, honestly, Vancouver had a few bad choke years in the playoffs.
Wasn't he the first ever captain?
Yeah, he was a captain. That was
goalie?
a goalie. That's a good point. I remember the C on the chin of his helmet.
Roberto Luongo is a Hall
I
of
don't think
Famer.
he was the first. I think there was one. Like,
Yeah, I
old
think
time
you're right
one.
on that, but it's still interesting.
In my mind, he is a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Absolutely. He was the best goalie in the world for at least 5 years.
Yep.
After Brodeur left and retired, or like severely declined near the end of his career, it was Roberto Luongo. He was the best goalie in the league.
Yeah. Maverick, what do you think?
I will say yes.
Did they let Luongo go in New York because Rick DiPietro showed up?
I don't remember.
New York? He was Florida.
No, he started in New York.
He started on the island. And
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they let. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure they let him go because they had DiPietro.
I'm pretty sure Luongo was drafted like top 2. But so was DiPietro.
Yeah, he was drafted 4th overall. So Luongo was taken in '97, and then 3 years later they took DiPietro in 2000. So yeah, he played 1 year with the Islanders, and then they let him go because they had DiPietro. Oh my god,
That sucks.
Yeah.
Talk about a backfire! Holy shit!
Yeah.
The only thing that could have gone worse was if it was Luongo that punched DiPietro's lights out and ended his career, not Brett Johnson.
Yeah, and DiPietro was weird too.
Yeah, put him in the hall while we're at it. Just put all the goalies
Well,
in.
he was he had
no,
so much talent, but he never played.
His talent wasn't fighting, that's for sure.
Yeah.
We're gonna put Luongo in the Hall of Fame. Just like he's got more wins than Cujo. He was elite. He was the best goalie in the league for several years. He was the best player on his team.
Yeah.
He meets all the criteria. It's a shame he really tried to keep it going in Florida for too long.
Rick DiPietro was a first overall pick back in 2000. That's wild.
Yeah, I think they're still paying him too.
He only played 319 games, and that's combining like NHL, AHL. So he only played 319 like professional hockey games.
Awful.
Rick DiPietro, what a weirdo. He's
What
only
was his
39.
contract? What was his contract worth, or like how long was it? It was stupid long.
I think it was 12 or 13 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of like
Does
Tatis
Yashin-
was signed for. You think? Oh, could you imagine
14.
if Tatis's contract in the MLB went the way DiPietro's went?
Wow.
Oh,
I hate contracts that long.
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, let's stick with some Vancouver Canucks players here. And we'll do them at the same time because they do everything together. Henrik and Daniel Seden. They both have a King Clancy, multi-time All-Stars, Ted Lindsay for Daniel, a Hart for Henrik, Art Ross for both, gold at the Olympics, gold at the World Juniors, and the World Championships. I'll let you start this one, Maverick. The Sedin brothers. Oh, Mitchell's shaking his head. This is going to be interesting. Maverick.
Are they going to hold each other's hands on the way into the hall? Oh my god, like they're connected at the hip. Could you imagine being a 40-year-old man and like not having any independence from your twin brother? It would just be embarrassing, man. Like they've got a shitload of points. Like they're both over 1,000 points in 1,300-ish games played for each of them.
Yeah.
But like it's almost like they didn't have their own careers. Like you couldn't talk about one without talking about the other.
That's true.
And that's part of it for me is like think about all the guys who like did it on their own. Like I mean Danny All-Star Heatley's killing off the competition. These guys are like doing it together. I don't know. They don't have my vote.
Killing off the competition.
They're just it's ridiculous. I think I'd rather put the guy that drafted them both in the hall for getting them both than putting them both in the hall for playing together the whole time. You know?
So you don't think they're Hockey Hall of Famers?
I don't think so. I think if they win that cup in 2011, that might be a factor. I mean, it's not all about cups, but I don't know. They're just they're too dependent on each other statistically. It's just a weird. Yeah, it's an anomaly. I don't really know how to judge it. There's not really an example of anybody else's career looking that way, you know? Has there ever been twin brothers that played on a line together like that, let alone for as long as they did?
Not that I know of.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird one. What do you got for me, Mitch?
Oh, I hate them with a passion. I watched their style of play. They were chippy, they were dirty, and they got away with a lot of stuff. I didn't really watch them too closely until the 2011 playoffs because they were destroying teams. They were the best team in the West. They won the President's Trophy that year. They were the best team in the league. And as much as I hate them, they are Hall of Famers. They are. Even though they're you could argue without the other one they wouldn't be what they are, but they were. You know?
Yeah, it's tough to say because they never played separate. I just don't like that they never had to. Like,
yeah,
that's the tough part. If they had even a year apart and could post relatively similar numbers. The other thing that I noticed stats wise when I was looking at it, Henrik never had a 30-goal season, and then Daniel did have a couple. He had 41 with 104 points. So I don't know. Like Daniel's a bit more offensive, scores a bit more. I think he's got a better case, even though he's got less points. But he did have 40 goals, over 100 points. Henrik had over the 100 points, but never even hit 30 goals. That makes it kind of tough for me too.
Yeah. I think your guys' reasoning for keeping them out of the Hall of Fame is a little biased.
Or putting them in. Mitch was putting them in. I was keeping them out.
I said I'm saying they're in.
Yeah, I think they're.
I'm
they're
the
in.
hater.
I mean, multi-time All-Stars, Ted Lindsay for Daniel, Hart for Henrik, and an Art Ross for both. They both had the international success, got the gold medal, got the gold medal at the World Juniors and the World Championships. I don't think it's really a question. I think when you look back on hockey history, these are two guys, a tale that you have to tell. I think they belong in the Hockey Hall of Fame. I don't really think it's even much of a question.
The only knock is the playoff blunders. That's the only knock.
But you could put that towards Luongo too.
Yes.
And the no 30 goals for me. That's a big one. Like
for Daniel?
Yeah, you would think a Hall of Famer would hit 30 at least once.
Yeah, you'd think he'd hit 30. So I don't know. I also just never really liked their playing style like you.
Yeah.
I think my bias of hating them is a big factor.
My dad's best friend is a Montreal Canadiens fan, and he hates them because they're dirty. Okay?
Okay.
That should say a lot, because every single Montreal Canadian player to ever exist is dirty.
Yeah.
No bias. No bias
at all, coming from a Bruins
fan. Can you still
fan.
smoke cigarettes in the Bell Center?
Probably.
I feel like that would be a Quebec thing, just sitting there, watch dirty hockey, just smoke cigarettes.
All right, let's talk about a controversial one here. Wasn't a very good player, but won a Jack Adams Award as a coach, but an incredible icon in the hockey landscape. Don Cherry. Mitchell, is Don Cherry a Hockey Hall of Famer?
You people better believe he's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
The guy transcended the sport. He was a Canadian icon.
Yep.
He was the reason why anybody watched the first intermission at 8 o'clock every frickin' Saturday evening. He was the guy you wanted to listen to between periods in the playoffs, even while he was senile and old, because you never knew what he was going to say. He was a wild card.
Yeah.
But that was what he was entertaining, but you respected his opinion. I respected his opinion. I can't speak for you guys. People hate Don Cherry, but honestly, I love Don Cherry, and I think Don Cherry belongs in the Hockey Hall of Fame. Don Cherry belongs on the $20 bill. That's where Don Cherry belongs.
Well, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Whether you love him or hate him, you can't deny that he was an amazing ambassador for the game of hockey. Maverick, what do you think? Is Don Cherry a Hall of Famer? I think you might have a little bit of a different opinion.
I think he would go in a sports media Hall of Fame. Could you imagine how quick Bell Media would fire him? Oh my god.
Not as fast as they fire me.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, I think he belongs in the Media Hall of Fame, if there is such a thing. Like, I know there isn't, but you could put him in there with like Vin Scully and Jim Nantz and like all the commentators and sports media.
Marv Albert.
I don't know if I put him in the Hockey Hall of Fame. Like as a builder, I know he's an iconic TV personality. I would almost rather see Ron McLean go in as a builder before Don, if you're gonna do it that way.
Good point.
But yeah, like as a media personality, for sure. I have a hard time putting him in the same category. But Bettman put himself in, so who the fuck knows?
Yeah. I might be biased on this because I grew up in a household that when Don Cherry's talking, you shut up.
You don't talk. You don't talk.
He was a god. I mean, he was a hockey god at one point. I think Don Cherry should be credited as a builder of the game. I think he definitely helped build the fan base around hockey and kind of built around the culture of hockey that, I mean, now it's kind of being looked at as wrong, the culture that he was kind of embracing. But nonetheless, I think at one point in his career, he was one of the...
Maverick's got his hand up.
What's up?
I would almost argue, like, towards the end, people would look at him as the barrier of entry more than a builder because of his because of his point of view
Mm-hmm.
that he was almost portraying.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just looking at it from the other side of that argument. But I
Right.
know that there's someone that I live with that has that point of view.
Right.
So I know what you mean, that he was a builder of hockey in that sense. But then there's definitely people of different backgrounds that might not look at it the same way, that
Yeah.
you didn't build the experience
And
for
I
him.
and I totally
But yeah,
understand that. I know that
he's-
exists.
And he's a product of his times too.
Yeah,
Like,
that's what I
definitely,
mean.
Like, in the 80s and 90s, he was definitely more of a, like, there wasn't that point of view towards him.
Right.
So, and the
No-
longevity makes a difference too. For
Yeah.
sure.
That's what I meant by his kind of the way that he thought, or the opinions that he put out there as time went on and he became older, stopped fitting with today's world. But when he was in his prime of his broadcast career, like, he was the hottest thing on TV on a Saturday night. That's for sure. So I think Don Cherry 100% belongs in the Hall of Fame, but I really, really do not believe we will see him in the Hockey Hall of Fame, especially after he was fired from Hockey Night in Canada for his poppy rant. Yeah.
The guy loves his troops, man.
And it's not like that was the first time he did something like that. But
No, I think it's funny how he's like hated on the Euros, hated on the Frenchies, and then he just, and then he lost it on that one.
yeah. Yeah, it's almost we could do a whole different podcast on the life and career of Don Cherry, but
I might even get canceled for saying Euros and Frenchies. I don't even think you're supposed to say that anymore.
in my books, this is a Hall of Famer, but I think where the world is at today, he's probably not looked at as someone we should be celebrating, but he's someone that I will celebrate forever, because I remember growing up as a little kid watching Hockey Night in Canada and having Don Cherry being a really big part of that.
Yep.
On to the next player. This one might be easy to dismiss. Let's talk Dion Phaneuf. Maverick.
Beyond the pylon?
Yeah.
No, the double Dion.
Maverick, you made a good point before the show. We talking about Dion, and you said that he
Yeah,
was never the
Dion-
best defenseman on his team.
No, he was the best defenseman on his team, and that team sucked
For the
ass.
Leafs, yeah.
That was the problem. Like, when he was relied on, he was no good. So
Mhm.
he's a hard no for me.
Yeah. What about you, Mitch?
Dion Phaneuf. Let's be real.
He had international success, and he had success as a junior, and honestly, he was pretty good in Calgary, but when he came to Toronto, he was a different player.
If he played the same way he did in Calgary his
Yeah.
entire career, we may be able to say, you know what, yeah.
Yeah.
But no. Hell no.
Completely different player when he got to
For the love
Toronto.
of God, he is a pylon.
Yeah.
He, I ragged on DiPietro for his fighting ability, but Phaneuf had one of the worst fights in NHL history when he threw the gloves down and fell over backwards. That's like one of my favorite hockey highlights of all time.
Is that as bad as Alexander Semin?
Oh, I think it's worse. I think falling down
Yeah.
and the other guy going to the bench laughing at you is
Yeah.
way funnier than just smacking a guy.
Yeah.
All right, back to the builder category and away from the player category. What about Brian Burke? Mitchell, you can start this one.
Yeah, easily. Probably the one opinion in hockey since Cherry's been gone that I respect the most. I want to hear what he has to say. I think he's probably one of the smartest minds in hockey. And I feel like he got the short end of the stick in Toronto because nobody has any patience in Toronto.
Yeah.
He had a great team in Anaheim. He had a team that rolled 4 lines. He had a Stanley Cup there. He's built great teams wherever he's went. And they've always gotten rid of him before their peak. And then they hit their peak when he's gone. And he goes, see, told you so.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, they don't know what they're doing.
In 2010, by the way, he built that Team USA team that was a goal away from winning the gold medal on Canadian soil. Maverick, Brian Burke, what do you think?
He's definitely the most senile guy in hockey since Cherry retired. I've listened to this guy tell so many stories, like, over and over again. Like, he doesn't even remember that he's told that story 3 or 4 times on Sportsnet. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
He's like, you should put him in a home just as quick as you should put him in the hall. But like, he's got my vote. He's in.
Yeah.
Especially like pulling off the draft stunt to get both Sedins. As much as I don't like them and don't think they belong in the hall, I think that draft move changed a franchise in one draft. Yeah, he made the right calls to win to get the Ducks over the hump and win a cup there.
Yeah.
That Pronger, getting Pronger, he completely rebuilt the D line.
Yeah, getting
like
Pronger was huge. So I think he's in. I'm excited that he's back in the NHL and that he's not on Sportsnet anymore. Looking forward to what he does in Pittsburgh and looking forward to not having to hear the same 4 stories over and over again.
Yeah, I love Brian Burke. And to Mitchell's point, I think he kind of got let go in Toronto too quick. I think he was building a good team there and something that the Leafs don't really have now. And that was kind of a physical team that played the Brian Burke style of hockey. And I mean, he got to the Leafs to the playoffs, a shortened season, but still got to the Leafs to the playoffs for the first time since I was a little kid. So when they dismissed Brian Burke, I was pretty surprised by that.
It's because it didn't relate to postseason success. It's the exact same reason why Mike Babcock isn't there anymore. Because Mike Babcock holds the record for most wins in a regular season as a Toronto Maple Leaf head coach.
Yep.
Like, he has that record.
Yep.
But they lost in the first round, so nobody cares. Like, literally nobody gives a flying fuck if you've done whatever in the regular season. And that's the thing. That's why it's hard. Like, as much as I think the Sedins are great, they didn't do anything. Luongo didn't do anything in the playoffs. Like, didn't make it. Didn't get the cup. Didn't show up when it needed to happen.
Right.
It's a hard, because it's a different, like, you can judge, like, there's a regular season Hall of Fame and a playoff Hall of Fame, and it's hard to put them together sometimes. Yeah, I don't know, man. Because, like, I had this conversation with Tyler the other day about Tuukka Rask, because he was a goalie that choked against Philly. He was a goalie that it was a net against Chicago in 13,
St. Louis
in 18, and he has a cup ring, but he's a backup.
Yeah.
Rask is choked under the pressure every single time. So
did he even get a ring? I don't think he was with the team.
Yeah, he was their backup in 2010 or in 2011 when Tim Thomas won the Vezina and went off and did his thing.
What about Mike Babcock? He has a cup. He has 2 gold medals, I believe. I think, was he the coach in 2010? I believe so.
Yeah, he was, and in 2014.
Maverick, would you put Mike Babcock in the Hall of Fame?
No. Guy's a fraud.
A lot of players hate him. He singled guys out. When I heard the story about what he did to Mitch Marner, I understood. I understand he has a lot of accolades. He has a lot of wins. He has a lot of experience. But, like, if that's your coaching style, I'm not sure that's the best way to go about it. I can't believe he actually has as much.
How much of that stuff do you think happens that we don't hear about? Are you telling me John Tortorella doesn't have...
in the league?
What's that?
With Babcock or across the league?
Across the league.
I think Torts' buy-in from his players is evidence that he's not doing the same shit. I think he's figured out a way to be hard on guys without, like, bullying guys, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a difference.
Sorry, I was going to say, just even a guy like Peter Laviolette, too.
Yeah, he's been around a long time.
Or Quenville.
Mm-hmm.
Paul Maurice.
So you think that Mike Babcock stepped over the line between being hard on guys and being a bully?
I think he's a bully, and I don't think he's a Hall of Famer because he won a cup with a stacked Detroit team, and he won a gold medal with Canada with Sidney Crosby. Like,
yeah,
give me a break. Like, I could have coached those 2 teams to the fucking championship.
You might have been able to coach the Red Wings one too, though.
Maverick, you said it best already. How many cups should he have won with that Red Wings team? There were so many years. They were so good. And Blackhawks and Penguins just said no.
Went to the playoffs like 26 straight years, and they only got 1 cup to show for it. Obviously, he wasn't there all of those 26 years, but he was there for at least a decade.
I think him playing Matthews in the playoffs for the limited minutes, too, like, really goes to show that it's not his game management that's winning. It's the team that's been winning. Like,
there is some.
I think his game management decisions have been called into question as well.
There is some flawed things from his career, but like he also had some impressive things. Like I remember the 2014 Team Canada Olympic team, how puck possessive they were, and that's the game they played, and they won playing Babcock's way. And they would, but at the same time, they were just like inching out teams like Switzerland and shootouts and stuff like that, and it kind of made me think like, what if they stopped trying to do the puck possessive thing and we're just like, okay, we have a team full of all-stars, let's just go and kill teams. But I don't know, I think Mike Babcock actually does have a really smart hockey mind, and I would actually put him in the Hockey Hall of Fame, whether you guys agree with that or not. I mean, he does have the accolades. I mean, he's a 2-time gold medalist. He has Jack Adams Award winner awards, I'm sure, and the Stanley Cup. I mean, I think just by that, I think he has to go in there.
All right, who's next? Who?
Well, I don't have anyone else written down. Is there anyone off the top of your guys' heads that you want to have a conversation
about? That would be a perfect
about?
time for me to ask Mitch if he thinks
right.
who he thinks should be in the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Let's do that.
All right, Mitch, you've got one vote between the two guys. Are you going to vote in Pete Rose or Ty Cobb for the Hall of Fame for baseball?
Okay, so I'm glad you didn't ask me a steroid question.
You might need to punch in the two names on Google and see what you get. I don't know.
My thing with the Baseball Hall of Fame is Bud Selig goes in, and he was a big enabler for the steroid era, so that's like another conversation. Ty Cobb was an asshole. He was a piece of shit. Same thing.
Why?
Same thing with Gary Sheffield.
Nobody
liked him.
What was wrong with Ty Cobb?
He's a racist.
How so?
Oh, I thought I was gonna get you with it.
Mitchell knows his baseball. Baseball's Mitchell's sport that he's the most knowledgeable on.
Ty Cobb is a piece of shit, but the worst thing is he has numbers good enough, you know?
Yeah.
And just the same thing with like Pete Rose, those Big Red Machine teams. Like, he bet on his own fucking team because he's like, yeah, we're that good. I'm just gonna fucking bet on the Reds.
I don't have a problem with that.
And I honestly just hate that there's such a big thing with gambling. Who doesn't gamble on sports? You can't tell me players don't gamble on sports. Bullshit. They're all liars. Even the execs, GMs, owners, league execs, they're all bullshit liars. If they said that I don't gamble on, no. Bullshit. Pete Rose has the most hits all time. Pete Rose deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. End of story. No questions asked. And he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame more so than a guy like Ty Cobb, who is actually a piece of shit. Is
Ty Cobb in the Hall of Fame?
Looking it up now. Apparently Ty Cobb claims to have killed a guy in 1912.
Is he in the Hall of Fame?
Yeah.
Oh my god. How do they not take him out? Like, jeez.
Because the MLB's racist.
But Pete Rose can't be in there because he bet on himself. But Ty Cobb killed a guy.
Pete Rose also, when he was coaching, he was betting as well.
Yeah, but he always bet on himself.
He coached the Reds for a bit.
I don't think Pete Rose did anything wrong.
Yeah, there's a gambling addiction. That's okay.
Yeah.
You know? Michael Jordan had a gambling addiction.
Yep, that is true. Alright, boys, it is time now for our segment, Ty and Dan Crack a Can. Dan's not here, but we can still crack a can, so this is a segment where we toast to something or someone that throughout the week that we saw and liked. I'm thinking this week, because Ontario, where we live here, is going back into a lockdown, why don't we crack a can to a local business that we know and love. Mitchell, you can go first.
A local business? Okay, well, I'm not going to say my girlfriend's business because, like, I should, but I'm not going to. I'm going to crack a can to every local batting cage that is probably going to shut down. The cage in Barrie and what's the name of the one run in Aurelia?
The Aurelia Legion Minor Baseball Field House.
Okay, so the field house.
Yeah.
So we had a chance to go yesterday and hit some balls, and honestly, it was a taste, and it sucks that it's taken away because I was completely prepared to do it every single weekend or weekend, like every other weekend, and now, yeah, I'm just gonna. How about an opposite toast? I'm gonna anti-toast
The Ontario government.
to the fucking dickheads that run the goddamn province, and let shit like Walmart be open, but let small business owners just eat shit. So
Yeah.
that's what I say.
Sick invite
Fucking
to the
crack
batting
it.
cage, eh, Mav?
Crack a
Sorry, I
can.
missed that, Ty. I was getting Mitch's audio. What'd you say?
I said sick invite to the batting cage, eh?
Yeah, well, you know me. It's
Yeah.
winter. I'm busy.
Yeah, I knew that. All right, Maverick, who do you want to toast to? Local business you want to plug?
Well, I'm gonna plug because they were paying me today. They're giving me the old hours. We're gonna start with the ski shop.
Gates and boards.
Yeah, I'm wearing the shirt.
Yeah.
Still in my uniform because I was working, getting the old 12 to 5 in. And then you know what? We're also gonna do the Thai bamboo because last night we had pad Thai food,
Nice.
and it's a shame that
Oh,
you eat at restaurants these days. But
Yeah.
Thai bamboo Thai food, and you get like I don't know a pretty big portion size, and they fill it up. It's like 3 meals worth. I paid $12 for a pad Thai. So Thai bamboo in Barrie, in the South End. That's my local restaurant.
Barnstormer Brewery, definitely.
Oh, I'm more of a Flying Monkeys guy.
Barnstormer, dude. It is the place to be.
It's old people craft beer.
You kidding me?
all right.
It's so plain. It's like old people playing. You know.
Hey,
like,
we're plugging local businesses here, not bringing them
it's
down.
The kind of brewery, hang on. It's the kind of brewery where, like, if you like Bud Light and you want to go to a craft brewery, that's where you go.
No way.
But if you like craft beer for like crafty beer, then
When's the
Flying
last time you've been there?
I went in the summer last year. Just sat out on the picnic table. Tried a
Yeah.
watermelon beer that they tried to like.
It's so good.
They tried to get out there. I don't know. They've got a good dark. Their Billy Bishop dark beer is good.
Yeah,
But,
the Billy Bishop's good.
But dark beer is also for old people. So I'm gonna say it's.
I don't-
old people.
No, they're.
I agree with Maverick. That place sucks. But I love how this segment's supposed to be. Let's give props to a local business, so we're like, fuck that place.
Nah, it's not fuck that place. It's just like I don't have enough gray hair to go there yet.
That's fair. What's wrong with Bud Light, by the way?
You don't have a sophisticated enough palate to go there, so that's okay. And Bud Light is piss, man.
I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, because you like piss.
Love.
All
You're
right.
like, you're like the Odell Beckham of this podcast.
I want to I want to plug Hill's Maple Leaf Restaurant in Aurelia.
Yeah!
Best breakfast place I've ever found on planet
Thickest
Earth.
meat around, I tell ya.
Everybody in Aurelia loves that place. Mitchell's dad was there on Friday. So I'll plug that place, and I'll plug another place I went to today in Barrie. I was at Donnelly's, the Irish pub.
And you didn't even say hi to me.
No, I was hoping to have an enjoyable, peaceful lunch, not an annoying lunch.
I didn't
where
want to come to lunch with you.
But anyways,
asshole.
that was a very good experience. They have the best mac and cheese I've probably ever had in my life. So those are my 2 plugs of the week, or cracking
I've
a
never
can
been
too.
to Donnelly's before 11 p.m.
Oh, okay. I thought you were just gonna say you've never been to Donnelly's. I was gonna say that's a problem.
No, it's like the late night place.
Yeah.
It's nice to know that they actually serve like decent food there.
Oh, damn!
Speaking of Ty and Dan crack again, here's our boy Danny Forbes. Just making a. This is like watching the WWE Royal Rumble. You're like, no way, my favorite guy from 2004. He's here. He's back.
He's 50.
Yo, we should just peace out, call it a show now, as he's logging on.
Oh.
All right, well, thanks for watching this week. Is he actually coming on here, or what's going on? Connecting to
I don't know,
audio.
but I want to have another glass of wine, so.
I'll get him to crack his can, and then we'll call it a show here.
Isn't he driving?
No, he's home now. He made it.
Just get him to crack the can a little bit.
Hello.
Hey!
Oh, Danny.
Dude, we were literally just about to close off the show here.
Well, I might as well say hi and bye at the same time for you.
How are you now?
Not bad. Just stopped at Harvey's on the way home.
There you go. We were just plugging good local businesses such as Harvey's.
Yeah.
So, we were doing Ty and Dan Crack a Can, and, well, we have you here. You're from Perth, Ontario, which is near Ottawa. So, plug a couple local businesses that need the support during the third Ontario lockdown. Or I guess your lockdown might be different, because we're in Simcoe County, so we're going in the lockdown. I don't know about you.
Well, pretty much everything's open with restrictions. We have indoor dining. Pretty much all the businesses, they really struggled, but now they can, if they've made it all the way, they can actually try to find their way through this nonsense.
So you guys aren't going in the lockdown tomorrow, on Monday?
No, we're completely open, pretty much, with restrictions.
We're going in the lockdown here in Simcoe County.
Well, gray zone, but it's pretty much locked.
Yeah. So Danny, plug a couple local businesses.
1 second.
Okay.
Let me flip the screen here. Just go.
There you go.
My phone looks really messed up because I broke it again. Yeah.
All right, who you
I'm on my 4th or 5th phone in like 4 or 5 months, to be honest with you.
You're a wild man. Okay, who you plugging?
We got to plug Jersey Joe's, Perth, Ontario. We got to plug Law and Order's, Perth, Ontario.
Law and Order?
Law and Order's. It's the best burger in Ontario. Bottom line.
Okay.
Bottom line.
And one last question for you before we call it a show. You have one ballot to put into the Baseball Hall of Fame. Ty Cobb or Pete Rose?
Pete Rose right now. He has the most hits ever. You kidding me? Hall of Fame yesterday. It's ridiculous to even entertain any discussions otherwise.
Is Ty Cobb a Hall of Famer, though?
Absolutely.
even though he killed a guy?
I don't. He's a Hall of Famer all day long. I don't care if he killed 3 guys. The on-field performance speaks for itself.
But he didn't like black people very much.
Well, that's totally unacceptable. However, when in between the foul lines, there's 27 outs and he's playing in that game, he's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Wow, what a way to sum it up.
All right, boys. What a show. Thanks for joining me. Let's do this again soon.